Hello and welcome to the Pirate Podcast. This is edition number 5. I'm here with the head cheer coach, Mrs. Martin. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, thank you.
All right, so let's get right into it. Can you tell me a little bit about how the cheer season's gone so far?
Yes, it has been great. This year's been a little different because we have 11 seniors on varsity, and then Emma, our manager, is also a senior, so 12 seniors are going to be leaving us. So we, as a coaching staff, decided to take a bigger squad, and so we have 23 on our varsity squad, which is the biggest. The most we've had before that was 20. So it's going really well. Uniforms have been a little bit of a hassle because we got to get more, and everything's back ordered from COVID all the way back. So we've had to work on that, but everybody's been really patient and cool with all that. Everybody's working hard, and so it's been great. Our JV's doing a good job too.
So there's been a little more of a focus on maybe preparing the younger athletes for next year when the large senior group leaves?
Yes, exactly.
All right. So what would you say is the most fun part about the cheer season for you?
Working with the girls and getting to know them is always fun. Teaching the new stunts are always fun. Going to camp, learning new things. It's really hard work because you can get injured really easily when you're stunting, and they do. They get hit in the face, and black eyes, and funny noses, and all that good stuff when they're learning it. But as they're going through and they are learning the routines and they start to master them, and it really starts to pull together. That's cool. And I think that's my relationships I build with the girls is my favorite part. And then the watching the routines come together, whether it's for a game or competition or whatever, that's really motivating. And that's what keeps me, coming back, is watching them grow as people and cheerleaders.
Yeah. So what's your background in cheer?
I'm old, and I went to high school and graduated in 1989 in Iowa, Fort Dodge, Iowa. And I was a high school cheerleader. I was the captain of the cheerleading squad all 4 years. So that was kind of fun. And then that was it for a while. I went to the University of Iowa, and it was really challenging to make the squad there. And so I decided not to try out and didn't. But then as soon as I came to work here, the program opened up for a JV coach, and I did track for a couple of years, and then I was able to join the cheer team. And then the head coach before me, who's also did it for 21 years, I think, she left, and then I was able to take over for her. So it worked out really well for me to get back involved. And I was a gymnast. That's my background. So cheerleading was a great part of it, but gymnastics was my main focus in high school. And that, when I got too old to do either of those things, it was really fun to become a coach with those things. So
Live it through them.
Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm. So the gymnastics and cheerleading, they go hand in hand.
Yeah, I feel like you don't have to tumble to be an excellent cheerleader. It makes them rise up a little bit as far as athleticism goes, because not a normal person can just go out and do a backflip. You have to really work hard and train your body to do it, and get used to all the different things that you have to work on to be able to tumble. So being a gymnast also makes you perform. It teaches you how to perform in front of a crowd, because you're all by yourself. If you're a competitive gymnast, you're all by yourself. So you have to learn how to control your nerves and perform up to that standard.
So on the topic of athleticism, I was wondering what goes into learning all the dances and the cheers that the girls do.
Well, we start in the summer with basic body control things and doing a lot of handstands and simple tumbling moves, motions, jump drills, different activities to build on making their muscle memory work for them. So they have to learn how to hit different motions and be sharp and all of that stuff. And you can tell when somebody comes to us as a freshman that's never cheered before, that takes a minute to get your body trained to know how to hit a motion real quick. And people don't necessarily think that it takes work and training to do those simple things, but it does. It takes a lot to get your muscles and your arms to move where they're supposed to be, and building your strength and that kind of thing. A lot goes into that.
Mm-hmm. So When most people think of cheer, they probably think of like the football game, sitting on the sidelines. But in reality, there's a whole other aspect, the competitive aspect, which you guys are leaving for state tomorrow.
Right.
And I was wondering if you could maybe explain how competitive cheer works for the people who may not know.
Sure. So we call ourselves athletes, and we constantly remind the girls, if you want to be called an athlete, you got to work like an athlete. So you got to be able to run and lift and do all of the things that all the athletes do. And the girls so this year we decided to have an optional tryout competition team, because we had a couple seniors that love cheering and wanted to cheer, but the competition is just so time consuming. It's hard on your body. It's just a lot more than, and they've done it for all the years. So they decided they wanted to opt out. So we did competitive tryouts, and some people got cut, and then we had our squad and were able to have some alternates and things like that. But people don't realize the work that the cheerleaders do, and they think that their flips and their all of the throws that they do and all the stunts that they do just happen naturally, and they don't. And it would be I think it would be fun to switch sports and have like the football players come to a cheerleading practice, and have the cheerleaders go to a football practice, and soccer players and tennis players and everybody trade and come to one of our things and see how hard it really is. Because the thing about the girls and I've had boys over the years cheer too, but that's their talent and their natural talent, but they had to work to get there too. They didn't just most of them. I do have a couple that kind of woke up and just, I'm going to try a backflip, and they did it. But for the most part, it takes years and years of training and strength and all that stuff.
Yeah. So like, how is the competition done? Do they do like a performance, and then the judges will give them a score?
Yes. Okay. So we they're in different categories. So depending on your school size, and then you can be either in the large category or the small category, depending on how many girls you have on the mat. And then they go out and do their routine, and then we get a penalty form, and our goal obviously is to get 0 penalties. But if a tumbler falls onto her rear end or touches down, which she's supposed to do a tuck, that's a penalty. Or if a stump falls and hits the ground, that's a penalty. So we wait for that sheet, and then after we get that takes probably 5 minutes. And then after we get that, then we have to wait until everybody's done competing. So our awards this time won't be till like 2 hours after we compete. Wow. So, and then we get they announce it, and then a couple days later we get the feedback from the judges about how we did and what we need to improve and that kind of thing. So, and we always have to get to state, you have to compete in the regional competition first, and from there we get a lot of feedback too on things to work on and how to improve.
Yeah, so when everyone's at their best,
right?
Because they get all the feedback and the criticism.
Yep.
Yeah. So hardest. What would you say the hardest part about the cheer season is?
I would say having to deal with keeping everybody healthy for the entire year, because we literally take 1 month off. We cheer all year. We give them a break from after basketball season in March until about mid-April, and that's it. So we hit the ground running in April, going to different events and that kind of thing. So keeping everybody free from injury and healthy. They're around each other so much, and when they're stunting, they're in such close quarters. If one gets sick, a lot of times they all get sick. And just keeping everybody, there at all of the practices and making sure that they can, because you can't have a cheerleading stunt practice without everybody being there, because you got to have everybody in the pyramid to make the pyramid go. And that can be very challenging. And so the coaches and I will step in, but I can only do so much. I can't stunt like they can anymore and that kind of thing. But we try to help, and we have Emma, our manager, has been amazing at stepping in all positions to fill in as a extra hand if we need it. And we have a couple other girls that will do that as well. A couple of the flyers that aren't on the competition team will step in for us and help us out. So that's good. Is there
a lot of injuries involved usually?
Yep. There are a lot of, the thing about injuries is we try really hard to be preventative and proactive. And that's why in the summer we start with the conditioning so hard. And the stunts we start, even though they can do big, huge stunts right from the beginning, we make them start small and work their way up so that nobody does get hurt. However, I've had stitches across my face once. I got caught by an elbow and had to get stitches across my face, and had a couple black eyes down the road. And plenty of bloody noses just from being on the outskirts of the stunt. So the girls in the stunt get cut elbows to the eye and stepped on the face.
Like a UFC fighter.
Yeah, lots of concussions happen when they, unfortunately somebody will step too close to each other and they'll conk heads or tumble into each other. I had a really bad injury where a girl got a massive concussion and another girl broke her hand in a tumbling crash.
Oh.
So there's been some pretty doozies over the years, but I do consider ourselves fortunate because we are so proactive about trying to prevent that. So.
Yeah. Last big question. So cheer is a very important part of the sports atmosphere. I think they help us get hyped. They help us get into the game. How do you keep them ready?
Well, they feed off of each other.
Yeah.
So a lot of it is especially on the varsity level, once they make it, that's what they love. They love to perform and be out in front of everybody and get everybody pumped up. And it, I don't know if you guys went to that last football game, but it was miserable. Mm-hmm. And we just kept pumping them up and reminding them how tough they are. And I stood out there with them to make sure that they saw that I was going to suffer right along with them. And a big thing that we say is if you're cold or tired, the more you cheer, the faster the game goes. So we try to encourage them to keep doing that. But it's a big mental toughness game too, to keep the smile on your face whether you're feeling like it or not.
Yeah, and it definitely wouldn't be the same without it. So I really appreciate the fact that they can do that. So state cheer tomorrow. What's the outlook on that?
Well, they're ready. I think that like I said, we've had some illnesses, so people here and there gone. So for the most part, we've had most people there. They have an amazing routine and they have hit it multiple times. So the problem, of course, with this is it's one and done. Once you do it, there's no going back. So they all are mentally tough, physically ready. We just got to make sure that their heads in the game and that we can perform to the best of our ability on the spot. So that's where there's a lot of stresses. It's one chance. You don't get asked for a do-over. Mm-hmm. So I think that they are all very supportive of each other and they push each other and they encourage each other, and that will help us perform well. So I'm excited about that.
We wish you all luck. So we have one last question we ask every guest. You're stranded on a island. What three items are you bringing with you?
Probably, do food and water count? Do I have
3 items?
Okay. Well, I think I could probably get some of my own food, but water I would have to get. So I need some water, and I would need books. I'm kind of, I have a little bit of a reading issue. I read probably too much.
Favorite genre?
Definitely need all kinds of books.
What's your favorite genre of book?
It depends on what I read a lot of different stuff. I like young adult, but just feel good books too. But I also read some mysteries and some drama and some nonfiction, and I try to mix it all up. But those are my 2. Water. I probably need to bring some friends and some books. Friends and I should say family too.
You're just bringing them too?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna do it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.